Commander Du Hyun stood on the bridge of the Earth, ship Hope *. It was humanity's first diplomatic vessel built for meeting aliens. After years of radio signals and small exchanges, today was the big day. Earth would join the Galactic Coalition. Status report, Du Hyun said. His voice was calm, but his eyes stayed fixed on the main screen. Stars glittered against the black of space. All systems normal, Commander, said Officer Yun-ki from his station. We will reach the meeting point in 20 minutes. Do Hyun nodded. This mission meant everything. Earth needed friends among the stars. The coalition had seemed friendly so far, but Du Hyun was a careful man. 20 years in Earth's space forces had taught him to hope for the best, but plan for the worst. Sir, Yun-ki's voice rose with alarm. 3 large ships just appeared on our sensors. The main screen changed to show 3 sleek, dark ships. They looked like arrows ready to be shot. They were not the round, peaceful ships of the Coalition. Those aren't Coalition ships, said Du Hyun. Hail them. Before they could send a message, the alien ships fired warning shots. Bright blue energy sailed past the Hope *, missing by only 100 meters. The screen flickered, and an alien face appeared. It had gray skin, 4 yellow eyes, and sharp teeth. Human vessel, the alien said in rough English. I am Admiral Koz of the Varix Empire. Your species is not welcome in this sector. Submit to our authority or be destroyed. Do Hyun kept his face calm. Admiral Koz, we come in peace on invitation from the Galactic Coalition. We ask for safe passage. The alien made a harsh sound like laughter. The Coalition is weak. They collect useless species like toys. The Varix rule this arm of the galaxy. Your choice is simple. Become our servants or die here. Officer Minji at the weapons station whispered, Sir, their ships outgun us at least 10 to 1. Our shields won't hold against their weapons. Do Hyun thought quickly. The Varix ships were stronger, faster, and had better weapons. But the Hope * had been built with some tricks that aliens might not expect. Admiral, Du Hyun said, we need 10 minutes to prepare our ship for surrender. The alien showed his teeth. You have 5 minutes. Then we board your vessel. When the screen went dark, Du Hyun turned to his crew. We're not surrendering. Set course for the gas giant and its rings. Maximum speed on my mark. The rings, sir? Asked Yun-ki with wide eyes. The ice and rock will confuse their sensors, Du Hyun said. When I give the word, dump our heat sinks and cut main power. They'll lose us in the debris. The bridge crew worked fast. They had trained for emergencies, but not for this. Not for running from aliens who wanted to enslave humanity. When the 5 minutes were up, Admiral Koz appeared on screen again. Your time is up, humans. Prepare to. Now, shouted Du Hyun. The Hope * shot forward at full speed toward the nearby gas giant. The Varix ships followed, firing. Most shots missed, but one hit the rear shields. Shields at 60%, called Minji. The Hope * reached the planet's rings, a thick band of ice, rock, and dust. Du Hyun watched the distance counter. Dump heat and cut power. Now. The ship went dark. Using only small thrusters, they slipped deeper into the rings. The Varix ships slowed, unable to track them among the floating debris. Bring us around the moon, Du Hyun ordered. We'll use its gravity to slingshot us out of the system. For tense minutes, they drifted silently. The Varix ships searched, firing randomly into the rings. When they reached the moon, Du Hyun gave the order. Full power. Now. The Hope * burst from behind the moon, using its gravity to gain speed. Before the Varix ships could turn, the human vessel was accelerating toward open space. On his ship, Admiral Koz smashed his control panel in rage. Impossible, he roared. They are primitives with outdated technology. But the impossible had happened. The humans had escaped. On the Hope Do-hyun set course away from the meeting point. Send a message to Earth, he told Communications Officer Soo-bin. First contact has failed. The galaxy is more dangerous than we thought. The crew worked in silence, knowing that humanity's first step into the galaxy had changed everything. The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Coalition buzzed with worried voices. 50 alien leaders sat in a wide circle, each from a different world. At the center stood Grand Counselor Evrax, tall and thin with blue skin that seemed to glow. "This meeting will come to order," said Evrax. His voice was soft, but reached every corner of the room. "We face a serious matter. The humans have met the Variks, and it did not go well." The room grew quiet. A screen appeared, showing the escape of the Earth ship Hope from the Variks vessels. "The human ship escaped," said Evrax. "This has never happened before. No species has escaped the Variks on their first meeting." A small alien with green scales stood up. "These humans got lucky, nothing more." "Was it luck?" asked Evrax. Intelligence Officer Ji-hai will now speak. A human woman walked to the center of the room. Ji-hai was one of the first humans to join the Coalition's staff after early secret contacts. Some aliens still did not trust having humans work for the Coalition. "Thank you, Grand Counselor," said Ji-hai with a small bow. "What you just saw was not luck. It was human military thinking in action." She touched a control, and new images filled the air around them. They showed Earth's wars through history, ancient battles with spears, medieval knights, modern tanks, and space conflicts. Unlike most Coalition species, humans did not find peace before they found the stars. Ji-hai explained. "We have fought wars for thousands of years. We've had time to develop many ways of fighting." The council members shifted uncomfortably. "But that makes them dangerous," shouted a round alien with 3 eyes. Ji-hai nodded. "Yes, if we were your enemies. But we want to be your friends. And now, the Variks are angry. They will attack Earth to save face." She showed more images, Variks ships gathering near their border. "Humans are ready to help the Coalition," said Ji-hai. "We know how to fight when outgunned. We know how to think in ways the Variks do not expect." Security Chief Han-gil stepped forward. He was a tall human man who had been working on the Coalition flagship for 6 months. "The Variks believe that bigger ships and stronger weapons always win," said Han-gil. "Humans know this is not true. History has taught us that smart tactics can beat superior force." He showed a battle simulation. If the Variks attack Earth with their usual methods, they will be surprised. Humans don't fight like other species. The council watched as simulated human ships used strange moves, hiding behind moons, setting traps, and fighting in ways the Variks would not expect. "In human history," said Han-gil, "smaller forces have often beaten larger ones by being smarter, not stronger." A silence fell over the room. The aliens looked at each other. "What do you suggest?" asked Evrax at last. Ji-hai stepped forward again. "Form a special team to study human military history and prepare defenses. The Variks have never changed their tactics because they've never needed to. But against humans, their old ways won't work. And if we help humans defend themselves," added Han-gil, "they will become strong allies against the Variks." Evrax thought for a long moment. "Very well. Officer Ji-hai and Security Chief Han-gil will lead this team. Study human tactics and prepare defenses for Earth." As the council broke into small groups to discuss this decision, an aide rushed in with news. "Grand Counselor, the Variks fleet has changed course. They're heading toward the human colony on Mars." Evrax looked at Ji-hai and Han-gil. "It seems your work begins now. The Variks want revenge for their humiliation." Ji-hai nodded grimly. "The people on Mars don't have warships. They're mostly scientists and miners." "Then they are doomed," said a small purple alien sadly. Han-gil smiled slightly. "Don't be so sure. If there's one thing humans are good at, It's surprising those who underestimate us. The council looked at the map of Mars, wondering what would happen when the Variks arrived. Would the human colonists be ready, or would the Variks get their revenge? Tawu wiped sweat from his forehead as he looked at the screen. As defense director of Mars Colony, he had hoped never to use his military training. But now 5 Varik ships were approaching Mars. How many people can we get to the shelters? He asked. About 70% of the colonists, answered his assistant. The rest are too far away in the mining areas. Tawu nodded. The colony had only been on Mars for 3 years. They had no real weapons, no warships, and no chance of beating the Variks in a fair fight. But Tawu had no plans to fight fair. Send this message to all mining teams, he ordered. Operation Red Dust begins now. Across the Red Planet, men and women stopped their work and began to move mining equipment to new positions. These were not soldiers, but every human on Mars had basic defense training. In space, Admiral Coase watched Mars grow larger on his screen. His 4 yellow eyes narrowed with pleasure. These humans embarrassed me once, he told his officers. Today we will show them the power of the Variks. Begin landing troops at their main colony. The Varik ships moved into position, sending down landing craft filled with soldiers. They expected no real resistance from the small colony. They were wrong. As the first Variks landing craft touched down, they found no one waiting. The colony seemed empty. Soldiers moved forward cautiously. Suddenly, the ground beneath them exploded. Mines made from mining explosives had been hidden in the red sand. Varik soldiers fell in confusion. What is happening? Demanded Admiral Coase from his ship. The humans have set traps, Admiral, reported an officer. And now they attack from hidden positions. Across the colony, humans used mining drills as weapons. They fired from behind buildings and then quickly moved to new spots. Cargo haulers had been turned into armored vehicles that rammed into Variks formations. Tawu directed the defense from an underground bunker. Keep moving, he told his people over the radio. Don't stay in one place. Make them think we're everywhere. Admiral Coase was furious. Send in all troops. Crush these humans. More Varik soldiers landed, but they found themselves fighting an enemy they couldn't see. Dust storms blinded their sensors. Communications towers had been set to send false signals that confused Variks equipment. Sir, said Tawu's assistant after hours of fighting, we can't hold much longer. Our people are getting tired. Tawu nodded. We don't need to win. We just need to last until. A new voice came through the radio. Mars Colony, this is Captain Sun Mai of Earth Defense Fleet. Help has arrived. On his ship, Admiral Coase saw the new danger. 6 human ships had appeared from behind Mars' small moon, Phobos. They were smaller than Varik ships, but moved quickly. This is nothing to fear, Coase told his officers. These human ships are primitive. Their weapons cannot hurt our advanced shields. Then the human ships fired, not energy weapons, but solid metal rods that moved at incredible speeds. The kinetic weapons smashed through the Varik shields, which were designed to stop energy weapons, not physical objects. Impossible, shouted Coase as his ship shook. How did they know our shield's weakness? On the lead human ship, Captain Sun Mai watched the battle calmly. Continue firing, she ordered. Target their engines, not their weapons. We want to capture their ships intact. The human ships moved in a formation that confused the Variks. It was based on ancient sea battles from Earth's history, when ships with sails fought on oceans. Admiral Coase tried to escape, but found his flagship surrounded. The humans had cut off his retreat with a simple but effective trap. Admiral, said Captain Sun Mai over the communication channel, your ground forces are defeated, and your ships are disabled. Do you surrender? In the silence that followed, everyone knew that human history had just changed. For the first time, the mighty Variks had been defeated in battle. and the Galactic Coalition was watching with great interest. 6 months after the Battle of Mars, a new building stood on the peaceful world of Eridani Prime. The Galactic Coalition Tactical Studies Academy gleamed in the morning sun. Its purpose: to train the next generation of Coalition officers, and for the first time, it would teach human military tactics. Academy Commandant Hyunwoo walked through the main hall. After 20 years in Earth's Space Forces and 6 months working with the Coalition, he still found it strange to see so many different aliens in one place. "Commander, the instructors are waiting," said his aide. Hyunwoo nodded and entered the meeting room. 12 beings from different worlds sat around a large table. Some had scales, others fur. Some had many eyes, others none at all. And most looked unhappy. "Thank you for coming," said Hyunwoo. "As you know, after the defeat of the Variks at Mars, the Coalition has decided to include human military tactics in all training." A tall, muscular alien with red skin stood up. This was Krell, a battle master of the proud Ithlar species. "Why should we learn from humans?" asked Krell. "You have only just reached the stars. The Ithlar have fought space battles for 1,000 years. Hyunwoo stayed calm. "And yet, humans defeated the Variks when no one else could." "Luck," said Krell. "Nothing more." The door opened, and a young human man entered. "Sorry I'm late, Commander," he said. "This is Instructor Junho," said Hyunwoo. "He will teach historical battle tactics." Krell laughed, a harsh sound. "This boy, what could he teach us?" Junho smiled politely. "Perhaps a demonstration would help. The simulation room is ready." The instructors followed Junho to a large room with a glowing floor. When they entered, the room changed to show a battlefield. "This is a simple exercise," said Junho. "Battlemaster Krell will command the red forces. I will command the blue. We each have the same number of troops." Krell stepped forward confidently. "I accept." The simulation began. Krell moved his forces in perfect formations, using tactics that had won many battles for the Ithlar. His troops advanced in straight lines, powerful and direct. Junho's blue forces seemed to retreat in disorder. They fell back, leaving gaps in their lines. "See," said Krell to the other instructors. "Human tactics are weak. They run away." But then something strange happened. As Krell's forces pushed forward, Junho's troops suddenly moved to the sides. The blue forces formed a crescent shape, with the strongest units on the wings. As Krell's troops advanced into the center, the blue wings closed around them like a trap. In minutes, the red forces were surrounded and defeated. The room fell silent. "What was that?" asked an instructor with 4 arms. "The Battle of Cadet," said Junho. "Fought on Earth more than 2,000 years ago. Hannibal used this tactic to defeat a much larger Roman army." Krell stared at the battlefield in shock. "But your forces seemed to be retreating in disorder." "They were retreating on purpose," said Junho. "It looked like weakness, but it was a trap. This is what humans understand. Sometimes appearing weak can be a strength." Hyunwoo stepped forward. "This is why the Coalition wants all cadets to study human tactics. We think differently. We use tricks and traps. We study history and learn from it." The alien instructors looked at each other with new respect. "I have much to learn," admitted Krell finally. "Perhaps humans have something to teach us after all." Over the next weeks, the Academy began to change. Cadets from 50 different species studied Earth's ancient battles alongside modern space combat. They learned about surprise attacks, guerrilla warfare, and psychological tactics. They discovered that humans had been studying war for thousands of years. And in a small classroom, Instructor Junho stood before his first class. "Welcome to human military history," he said to the alien cadets. "Today, we will learn why a smaller force can defeat a larger one, if they are smarter and more creative." The cadets leaned forward, eager to learn the secrets that had defeated the mighty Variks. As the Academy grew, so did interest in humans. Many aliens wondered how such a young species could be so good at war yet still want peace. To answer this question, the coalition created a special research team. Min Jae sat in a bright room with walls covered in images from Earth. As a human scientist, he had the strange job of explaining his own species to aliens. "Are you ready for today's session?" asked Thrix, his alien partner. Thrix looked like a tall, thin insect walking on two legs. She was a xenopsychologist, someone who studied the minds of other species. "I think so," said Min Jae. "But explaining humans is never easy." Today they would present their findings to the Coalition Science Council. For 3 months, they had studied why humans were good at fighting but still wanted peace. The council chamber filled with aliens of all shapes and sizes. Some floated in tanks of water, others needed special air to breathe. But all were curious about humans. "Begin your presentation," said the head counselor, a small green being with 3 eyes. Min Jae stepped forward. "Thank you for coming. Today we will explain what we call the human paradox. Why humans fight well but prefer peace." He showed images on the big screen. Human families having dinner, children playing, but also soldiers training and ships being built. "Humans evolved as hunters," Min Jae explained. "We chased animals until they got tired. We learned to work together and to think ahead." Thrix continued. "Most species in the coalition either never developed war, or they fought until they nearly destroyed themselves. Then they found peace. But humans are different." Min Jae picked up a strange object. "This is a chess set, a human game about war. We play it for fun. We think about war even when we're at peace." The aliens looked confused. "Let me show you something else," said Min Jae. He played music, showed paintings, and read poems, all created by humans. "Humans make beautiful things," said an alien with blue fur. "What does this have to do with war?" "Everything," answered Min Jae. "Humans can be gentle or fierce depending on what's needed. We can write a poem in the morning and plan a battle in the afternoon." Thrix showed brain scans of humans and aliens. Most coalition species are either always peaceful or always aggressive. Humans can switch between these states quickly. "When threatened, humans become fierce warriors," said Min Jae. "When safe, we create art and science. We call this controlled aggression. We fight only when we must." A tall alien with scales asked, "Is this why humans defeated the Variks? Because you can think like warriors when needed?" "Partly," said Min Jae. "But also because we've had thousands of years to study war. We know many ways to fight, not just with strength, but with cleverness." He showed a timeline of Earth's wars, from ancient battles with spears to modern space combat. "Each time we fought, we learned," Min Jae explained. "We tried new ideas, we studied our mistakes, and we wrote it all down so future generations could learn too." Thrix stepped forward. "This is why the Academy now teaches human tactics. Humans know more ways to fight than any species in the coalition." "But if humans are so good at war," asked a small purple alien, "aren't you dangerous to us?" Min Jae smiled. "The opposite. Because we understand war, we'd value peace more. We know what's at stake." He showed a final image, humans and aliens working together at the Academy. "Humans fought each other for centuries," said Min Jae. "Now we have peace among our own people. We want the same for the galaxy. We will fight to protect our friends, but we prefer to make more friends." As the council discussed what they had heard, Thrix turned to Min Jae. "I think they understand now," she said. "Humans are not simply warriors or peacekeepers. You are both." Min Jae nodded. "That's our strength. We hope the galaxy never needs our war skills again. But if it does, we'll be ready." 1 year after the Battle of Mars, alarms rang through the coalition headquarters. Emergency lights flashed as officials rushed to the command center. Grand Counselor Evrak stood before a large map of the galaxy. Red dots blinked along the outer edge. "What are we looking at?" asked a council member. "A new enemy," said Ivrax grimly. They call themselves the Hive Collective. They have attacked 3 border worlds in the last week. The room fell silent. The Coalition had known peace for 100 years. The Variks were troublemakers, but this was different. This was war. "Show us the battles," said a tall, blue alien. The screen changed to show Coalition ships fighting strange, round vessels that moved together like a swarm of insects. The Coalition ships fired in perfect formations, just as they had been trained. But the Hive ships simply absorbed the losses and kept coming. "Our standard tactics aren't working," said Evrax. "We've lost 4 fleets already." "Where are these Hive creatures from?" asked someone. "Beyond the galactic rim," answered Evrax. "We know little about them except that they want our worlds and don't talk before attacking." A small green alien stepped forward. "We should ask the humans for help. They know how to fight unexpected enemies." Not everyone agreed. Arguments broke out until Evrax raised his hand for silence. "Bring in Strategic Director Sungmin," he ordered. Sungmin entered the room calmly. He had been on Earth's Defense Council before joining the Coalition. Now, all eyes turned to him. "You've seen the battles?" asked Evrax. Sungmin nodded. "The Hive uses overwhelming numbers and doesn't care about losses. Your ships fight in tight formations, making perfect targets." "What would humans do differently?" asked Evrax. Sungmin walked to the map. "First, stop meeting them in open space. You're fighting on their terms." He moved his hands over the map, and it changed to show new positions. "Pull back to these star systems," he continued. "They have asteroid fields, radiation belts, and other natural defenses we can use." An alien with 4 arms objected. "But that means giving up territory." "Temporarily," said Sungmin. "In Earth's history, we call this defense in depth. You trade space for time. Let the enemy stretch their supply lines. Then hit them when they're weak." He showed more positions on the map. "Place small, fast ships here and here. They don't fight directly but raid the enemy's supply ships." "This seems like running away," said a proud warrior alien. "It's not," said Sungmin firmly. "It's being smart. The Hive has more ships, but they have to move through space just like us. They need fuel, food, and materials. Cut those off, and their advantage disappears." He showed another tactic. "We also recommend a scorched earth approach. If you must leave a world, destroy anything the Hive could use. Don't let them grow stronger with your resources." The council members looked uncomfortable. These were not the clean, honorable tactics they were used to. This was messy, patient warfare that might take years. "How can we be sure this will work?" asked Evrax. "You can't," said Sungmin honestly. "War is never certain. But these tactics have worked for humans against stronger enemies many times." After hours of debate, Evrax made his decision. "We will try the human way." Strategic Director Sungmin. "Select human officers to advise each of our fleet commanders." As the meeting ended, an alien commander approached Sungmin. "Your tactics seem dishonorable," he said. Sungmin looked him in the eyes. "When your world is at stake, honor is keeping your people alive, not dying in a beautiful formation. The Hive doesn't care about honor. They care about winning. So should you." The commander thought for a moment, then nodded slowly. "Teach us, human. We are ready to learn." Within days, human advisors joined coalition ships throughout the galaxy. The greatest test of human tactics was about to begin. 3 months after the human advisors joined the coalition fleet, the Hive Collective pushed toward the Arcturus star system. This was an important moment. If Arcturus fell, the Hive would have a clear path to the inner worlds of the Coalition. On the Coalition command ship, Fleet Commander Zeph paced nervously. He was tall with silver skin that reflected the lights of the bridge. Beside him stood human advisor Jin Su, calm and focused. "The Hive fleet will be here in 6 hours," said Zeph. "They have twice as many ships as we do." Jin Su nodded, studying the star map. "But we have something they don't expect." For weeks, Jin-Soo had been teaching Zeph about human battle tactics. At first, Zeph had resisted the strange ideas, but after several small victories using human methods, he had started to listen. "Show me the plan again," said Zeph. Jin-Soo pointed to the map. "We won't face them in open space. Instead, we'll use the environment as a weapon." The Arcturus system had a special feature, a pulsar. This was a spinning star that sent out regular pulses of radiation. Most ships avoided pulsars because the radiation could damage their systems. "We position our ships here," explained Jin-Soo, pointing to a spot behind Arcturus' fourth planet. "The planet shields us from the pulsar's radiation. The Hive will have to come to us. But once they find us, they'll still outnumber us," said Zeph. Jin-Soo smiled. "That's when we spring the trap." Hours later, the Hive fleet arrived. Their round ships moved as one, searching for the coalition forces. When they found them hiding behind the planet, they rushed forward to attack. "They're taking the bait," said Jin-Soo. "Wait for my signal." The Hive ships approached in a tight group, their weapons charging. They expected an easy victory. "Now," shouted Jin-Soo. The coalition ships split into 3 groups. One stayed in place, while 2 smaller groups flew away in different directions. The Hive ships followed the largest group, just as Jin-Soo had predicted. "Begin Phase 2, ordered Zeph. The coalition ships led the Hive fleet in a wide arc that brought them closer to the pulsar. The Hive followed, not realizing the danger. "Our shields are weakening in the radiation," reported an officer. "As expected," said Jin-Soo. "But watch what happens to them." As they got closer to the pulsar, strange things began to happen to the Hive ships. Their shields flickered and failed. Their tight formation broke apart as ships tried to avoid the radiation. "The pulsar's electromagnetic waves are disrupting their shield harmonics," explained Jin-Soo. "Just as we hoped." "All ships, attack pattern Theta," ordered Zeph. The coalition ships suddenly turned and attacked. Instead of firing at the center of the Hive fleet, they targeted individual ships on the edges. Without their shields, the Hive ships were vulnerable. "They're breaking formation," shouted an officer. For the first time, the perfect Hive formation fell apart. Individual ships tried to escape the radiation while others moved to attack, but they had lost their coordination. "Now for the final part," said Jin-Soo. "Call in the reserve ships." The 2 smaller groups of coalition ships that had separated earlier now returned, attacking the confused Hive fleet from behind. Caught between 3 groups of coalition ships and the dangerous radiation of the pulsar, the Hive began to retreat. "We've won," said Zeph in amazement. "We actually defeated them." Jin-Soo shook his head. "Not defeated, just pushed back. But now, they know we can hurt them." As the Hive ships retreated, Zeph turned to Jin-Soo. "How did you know the pulsar would affect their shields?" "We didn't know for sure," admitted Jin-Soo. "But in human history, we've learned to use the environment against stronger enemies. Mountains, rivers, weather, and now stars." Word of the victory at Arcturus spread quickly through the coalition. For the first time, the Hive collective had been stopped, and it was human tactics that had made the difference. 1 year after the Battle of Arcturus, the Tactical Studies Academy on Eridani Prime had changed completely. What began as a small program to teach human tactics had grown into the most important military school in the coalition. Commandant Hyunwoo stood on a balcony, watching hundreds of cadets from 50 different species train in the large field below. Some flew, others crawled or slithered, but all were learning human battle strategies. "Quite a different place from when we started," said a voice behind him. Hyunwoo turned to see Krell, the Ithler battle master who had once doubted human tactics. Now Krell was one of the Academy's best instructors. "I never imagined we would grow so fast," said Hyunwoo, "or that you would become such a supporter of human methods." Krell's red skin darkened slightly, an Ithler sign of embarrassment. After the Battle of Arcturus, only a fool would ignore human wisdom. "I am no fool." Together, they walked through the academy. In one room, Instructor Junho was teaching cadets about Napoleon's campaigns on Earth. In another, alien students practiced guerrilla tactics in a forest simulation. "Your human Junho has become quite popular," said Krell. "His class on human asymmetric warfare has a waiting list of 300 cadets." Hyunwoo smiled. Junho had gone from being doubted to becoming one of the most respected teachers in the academy. "And what about your class?" asked Hyunwoo. "Also full," said Krell proudly. "I never thought I would teach others how to fight like humans, but here we are." They entered the main assembly hall where preparations were underway for the graduation ceremony. This would be the first class to graduate since the academy had changed its focus to human tactics. "Is everything ready for tomorrow?" asked Hyunwoo. "Yes, Commander," said an aide. "All the simulations are prepared. The cadets will face their final test, the Napoleon scenario." This was a complex battle simulation based on Earth's Napoleonic Wars. Cadets would have to use everything they had learned about human tactics to pass. The next morning, hundreds of alien cadets stood in perfect lines as Hyunwoo addressed them. "Today you will face your final test," he said. "You will command forces in a simulation based on Earth's history. You must use what you have learned about human tactics to win." The cadets moved to the simulation chambers. For 6 hours, they commanded virtual troops in battles inspired by Napoleon's campaigns. They had to adapt to changing conditions, surprise attacks, and supply problems, all things that made human warfare different from traditional coalition tactics. When it was over, Hyunwoo and the instructors reviewed the results. 87% pass rate, said Junho with pride. "The highest ever." "They've learned well," agreed Krell. "These cadets think differently now. They don't just rely on superior technology or numbers. They use their minds." The graduation ceremony that evening was attended by coalition leaders from many worlds. Hyunwoo looked out at the cadets in their formal uniforms, each different according to their home world's customs. "You are the first class to complete our new curriculum," he told them. "You have learned that victory comes not just from strength, but from cleverness. Not just from technology, but from understanding your enemy." One by one, the cadets received their officer insignia. Some would join ships, others would lead ground forces, but all would take human tactics with them. Later, Hyunwoo found Junho and Krell watching the celebration. "Did you ever think we would see this day?" asked Hyunwoo. "Aliens and humans learning from each other." "Never," admitted Krell. "But I am glad to be wrong." Junho smiled. "The Hive War continues, but now we have officers who can think in new ways. That gives us a chance." As the three watched the new officers celebrate, they knew that the Academy had changed the coalition forever. The days of rigid, predictable tactics were over. A new era of adaptive, creative warfare had begun, inspired by the most warlike and peaceful species in the galaxy, humans. 2 years after the first human ship escaped from Admiral Ko's, the Great Hall of the Coalition headquarters was filled with representatives from 100 worlds. Today was a historic day, the official signing of the Terran Tactical Protocol. Grand Counselor Evrak stood at the center of the room. Beside him was Admiral Young-suk, Earth's new representative on the Coalition Defense Council. This was the highest military position ever given to a human. "Friends and allies," began Evrak, his voice carrying to every corner of the hall. "Today we recognize what we have learned from our human friends. Their tactics have saved many coalition worlds from the Hive Collective." Screens around the room showed battles where human strategies had led to victory. The Battle of Arcturus, the defense of Proxima Centauri, the raid on the Hive supply lines. In each one, human thinking had made the difference. Therefore, continued Evrak, the Defense Council has voted to make the study of human tactics mandatory for all military personnel in the coalition. Admiral Young-suk stepped forward. She was a small woman with gray hair, but her eyes showed the sharp mind that had helped plan many of the successful strategies against the Hive. "On behalf of Earth, I thank the Coalition for this honor," she said. "We joined the galactic community as newcomers, but we brought with us thousands of years of military experience. We are glad to share this knowledge with our friends." As she spoke, a new scene appeared on the screens, the Tactical Studies Academy on Eridani Prime. Hundreds of new cadets stood at attention as the Coalition and Earth flags were raised side by side. "The war against the Hive continues," said Young Suk, "but now we fight together, learning from each other. Earth's history of war has given us many lessons. Some are sad lessons about the cost of fighting. Others are proud lessons about defending what matters most." Avrax held up a document. "This is the Terran Tactical Protocol. It makes human military tactics the foundation of all Coalition training. Every cadet on every world will now study how humans fight." As he prepared to sign, a group of tall, gray-skinned aliens with 4 yellow eyes entered the hall. Everyone grew quiet. These were Variks, including Admiral Kaz himself. For 2 years, the Variks had stayed away from Coalition space, but the Hive threat had affected them too. Now they had come with a different purpose. Admiral Kaz approached Avrax and Young Suk. His proud shoulders were slightly bent, and his voice was humble. "The Variks Empire requests to join the Coalition Defense Pact," he said. "We too wish to learn human tactics. The Hive attacks our borders as well." He turned to Young Suk. "I once thought humans were weak primitives. I was wrong. Your species thinks about war in ways we never imagined. We asked to send students to your academy." Young Suk looked at Kaz, the same admiral who had tried to enslave Earth 2 years ago. Then she nodded. "The academy welcomes students who truly want to learn," she said, "even former enemies." Avrax signed the protocol, making it official. Around the galaxy, military schools began teaching human history and tactics. From Alexander the Great to Napoleon to modern space battles, human warfare became required study for every cadet. The ceremony ended, but Young Suk stayed behind, looking at the screens showing the academy. In one classroom, alien cadets were studying the Battle of Thermopylae, where 300 Spartans held back a much larger force. In another, they learned about Gettysburg and its famous flanking maneuvers. A final screen showed a classroom where cadets were studying the Mars defense, now considered a classic example of how a weaker force could defeat a stronger one with the right tactics. The instructor pointed to a diagram on the wall. "This is why every cadet now studies human tactics," he told his students. "Because sometimes the smartest fighter wins, not the strongest." Young Suk smiled. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not despite its history of war, but because of it.